So, good day, everyone. We're here for another episode of the DVD show. So, for today, we have the current assistant coach of the Barangay Ginebra San Miguel and a former PBA player and a former head coach also of the CSB Blazers and also an analyst for the PBA, as you guys may know. And I'll now welcome here to the DVD show, Coach Richard Del Rosario. Thank you for joining me here on my podcast.
Hi, Diego. Thank you for inviting me. And hello to everyone, lahat ng mga nanonood.
Oh yeah. So to start things off, Coach, gusto kita kamustahin na alam ko we're recording this the day before the PBA draft and alam ko kakatapos lang ng conference. So I believe busy ka na naman when scouting all
Mhm.
these youngsters applying for the draft. So how was it like
Mhm.
na nakapahinga ka ba after ng championship or diretso trabaho na ulit?
Nakapahinga. Actually, bored na nga ako eh. Gusto pa nga mag-start yung conference ulit.
Mm.
But again, yeah, you're talking about the draft. We were able to go to yung draft combine. Kasama ko si
Mm.
Coach Tim, tsaka si Coach Olsen. Just take a look kasi marami doon. We're not really familiar with the names. And, except
Same.
for yung mga big names talaga na were
Yeah.
supposed to be included in the draft. Si Olsen, mas familiar siya because he's
Oh
involved
yeah.
in college basketball, no? So we
Mm.
want to take a look firsthand do sa mga ibang talents and you know, what we're looking at yung mga probably yung mga diamond in the rough, yung mga sleepers kasi yung pwede mo makuha mga second or probably third round, hindi nagkaroon na masyadong exposure maybe in college or the commercial leagues. So yun, we wanted to just, we were curious to see kahit wala yung mga ibang big names doon because they had still, may games pa sila sa collegiate leagues and some were still abroad. And it was a good experience seeing all those hopefuls to enter the draft.
Yeah, and since Ginebra won the championship ng Governors Cup, do you guys have a high pick like in the first two rounds, or did you trade it na? Like, what's the status of the draft picks of Ginebra?
I think we're picking number 8 sa first round.
Okay.
Kasi sama nung namin eh, yung All Filipino, yung Philippine Cup, masama yung
Ah,
placing
yes.
namin doon eh. That's why medyo but because of itong championship sa next in the previous conference, medyo bumaba. I think at first we were supposed to be number 5 pero
Mhm.
naging number 8 kami. So but again, I think this is the highest pick that we'll get in the last 2-3 years. Kasi usually mga
Mhm.
12, 13 kami. So,
Mhm.
yun. Parang at least ngayon, number 8. Although, sadly, maraming hindi hindi nag-qualify dun
Oo nga,
sa draft
nagulat na
last
rin ako eh.
minute. Oo, di ba?
Mhm.
So, medyo maraming magbabago yan. Hindi namin alam kung sino yung abutan namin at number 8.
Oh, okay. So with Ginebra winning the championship and people always say na overpowered na yung roster kasi lalo na injured pa sila Stanley, sila JD. So ano yung parang strategy niyo in selecting the pick at number 8? Like is there a specific style that you guys are focusing on or position, or is it more of like best available talent?
Well, yes, of course, lahat naman looking at the best available talent. But actually, when we look at the applicants, we're not just looking at offense. Eh. We're
Mm.
looking about their willingness to play defense, um, how they are defensively, um, and yung activity level nila when playing yung mga scrimmages na yon, and how they would fit our team. Kasi we don't need a player naman na would score a lot because of the composition of our team, no? So kailangan lang talaga somebody who would be a piece of the puzzle. As you mentioned, nandun pa naman sila Stanley, sila LA of course. But also we're looking at guys that could maybe later on take the reins. Dahil nga
Mhm.
sa lineup naman namin, marami na rin yung medyo advanced in age.
Yeah.
Okay. So yun,
Mm.
ganun na lang sabihin natin. No?
Mm.
So later on, hopefully we can develop talents and players that could later on sila naman yung magte-take over once these players decide to retire. So yung continuity ng program, yun ang
Mm-mm.
meeting na rin namin.
Yeah. So you mentioned nga, coach, na you wanted to add pieces like for the future and development, player development for these youngsters that have upside and potential in the PBA level, and that's what happened also when you guys added some players na fill in the roles in your championship run in the Governors Cup. Guys like Arvin Tolentino, yung sila Jeff Chan, Nards
Mhm.
Pinto. So maybe we could talk about that championship run since people still are impressed with how you guys won it despite being the sixth seed. So, nung
Mhm.
beginning nung conference, I think you guys, I'm not sure kung ilang straight wins kayo, pero you guys are one of the top teams. Tapos biglang na-halt yung conference. Tapos pagkabalik yata, natalo kayo ng 4 na sunod. Then people were
Mhm.
starting to get worried. So, nung time na yun, how was the team like nung parang nagka-break ulit nung conference? Kasi hindi ba parang mahirap yun na biglang you guys were getting your rhythm na, tapos yun, pagbalik nyo, biglang natalo. Did you think that contributed to the inconsistencies ng elimination round?
Yeah, it was really tough, no? This conference, as you mentioned, it was a long conference because of all the breaks in between
Mm-hmm.
a conference. We won our first 3 games. Tapos we were massacred nung Christmas Day against Magnolia. And
Mm-hmm.
then nagkaroon ng break. So, and then it was a long break. And well, coach wanted to try something different during that break, yung lull, no? So nagkaroon kami ng mga adjustments in our offense and in our defense. So nagkaroon na naman ng learning process at that time. And unfortunately, yung schedule namin uh, after that break was a tough schedule. We played the top teams.
Uh-huh.
We played, I think, Meralco, San Miguel, Pokentex, and one more team. I don't remember, no, but
Mm-hmm.
it was a tough stretch for us. And yun nga, nagkaroon ng 4 straight losses. So we were really deflated, yung kumbaga. Kasi it was very frustrating, especially coming off a frustrating Philippine Cup for us. We got eliminated early. And then, of course, mataas yung expectations because Justin is back. So, nagkaroon talaga ng ano, those were trying times para sa team sa Ginebra. And then, unfortunately, there was a game against Rain or Shine that we really had to win. There came a point na we almost didn't make it to the playoffs, no? We needed to
Yeah.
win yung mga last games namin, and one of those games were against Rain or Shine. And
Mm-hmm.
even against teams that we were supposed to beat, yung
Mm-hmm.
Terra Firma, we were
Mm-hmm.
down by a lot nung
Mm-hmm.
halftime.
Yeah.
And fortunately, we're able to come back in the second half, and even against Blackwater. So talagang struggle yung team na yun, no?
Mm-hmm.
But again, I think yung leadership nung guys came in, and ano na rin it was really a collective effort. Parang it didn't matter who scored for us.
Mm-hmm.
Nawala na yung mga individual egos. Importante na lang talaga yung team kung paano kayo mananalo. So players were saying, doesn't matter if you don't start me, uh, uh, basta kung makatulong na ganon, no? And I think that those were the keys for our turnaround, and yung willingness to do whatever it takes just to win games. And buti na lang, we peaked at the right time. Especially we found a way how to play Japet at saka si Christian together. And so we won against Rain or Shine.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think yung pinakakita talaga was during the quarterfinals against TNT. That's where we really took off. We survived that series.
Yeah, yung TNT series, kala ko yung Ginebra like underdog talaga sila, and ang lakas ni
Yeah.
Mikey Williams nung conference na ito. I mean, yung season na ito,
Oo.
pati nung All-Filipino. Pero I think nahirapan sila with the new import kasi yung mga tao nga
Oo.
hindi nga naalala kung like what he did, ganun. Kasi
Yeah.
medyo nagkagulo sila with the import with Gilmore at I forgot his first name, pero
Yeah.
Gilmore
Yeah.
yata yung pangalan
Yeah.
niya. So I think that's
Oo.
also a plus for Ginebra. Pero you mentioned nga that nung lull for like, I don't know, a month yata yun na hindi naglaro. You
Mhm.
guys tried a new offense and defense. And when I
Mhm.
interviewed the dean, si Ginito Henson, we talked about the championship run. And I asked him also about the new sets of Ginebra. And na-impress nga siya na hindi na majority na triangle like the ones before. Like mas focus na siya in the strengths of the players like C-Stand and
Mhm.
Justin, maybe even Scottie. So how would you
Mhm.
say you guys what was your role also, or how was the gradual progress in making the players understand and comprehend and execute that new style that you guys tried to implement?
Well, importante naman kasi our players were willing to learn, and maybe because of our past success, I mean, they were able to develop trust
Mm.
with the coaches, no, and again also with the coaches, when some things were not working, uh, we were humble enough, especially see Coach Tim was humble enough to admit it
Mm.
and change some stuff that we tried to implement, and we went back to things that worked for us before, when the time that we won championships in the previous years, no.
Yeah.
And so yun, parang nung bumalik kami doon, um, we met halfway. I
Mm.
think yun ang nagbago doon sa takbo ng team namin.
Mm.
Because okay, now we believe in what we're doing, um, and it took minimal adjustments. Um, yung sinubukan na i-implement, when it was not really working, maybe needed some more time to develop. But since we didn't have time, um, considering na yung games sunod-sunod,
Yeah.
uh, so we had to revisit and yung mga old things that were working for us. And I think yun ang nag-change ng momentum para sa amin. And the players really played with more confidence, and yun, and it worked. Um, Towards the end of the elimination round, and of course during us playoffs.
Yeah. When you guys lost kasi sa TNT nung All Filipino, people were saying na kailangan na mag-retool kasi nga you mentioned kanina na yung lineup nyo medyo sa latter part of 30 na yung mga ibang players. Pero you guys prove na hindi kailangan like rebuild or retool. Like add lang ng konting pieces, and pag bumalik si Justin, kaya pa rin mag-champion. And you mentioned nga that the players had trust and confidence with each other and selflessness in terms of trying out this new system. So do you think na nakatulong din na veteran sila, na hindi sila yung parang, kumari sa NBA coach, if I don't know if you read before na yung Wizards, like si Bradley Beal, like they got frustrated kasi lahat sila bata, so they were trying to prove themselves and score as many points or get all the
Mhm.
possessions. Pero with you guys, veterans kasi, so yung experience na yung pag-iisip or mature na. Do you think that contributed to your success also?
Well, that was a big factor para sa amin because we had players who didn't have to prove themselves on the court individually. All they wanted
Mm.
to do really was to win championships. And, guys like, see, Christian, he won championships with San Miguel before.
Yeah.
And when he transferred to Ginebra, no Philippine Cup, we did not do well. So, and a lot of people blamed him.
Yeah.
And, all he wanted was to win with the team, and somehow prove na hindi siya yung malas, di ba? So,
Mm.
he was willing to sacrifice playing minutes, starting roles, and just do what it takes para manalo yung team. And even guys like sila LA, ayun nga, sila Jeff Chan, gusto lang nila makatulong rin. And
Mm.
yun yung leadership na sinasabi natin. It's not about really just taking charge every game, but sometimes it's about stepping back and for the sake of the team. So yung lagi nating sinasabing putting the team first, I think that's what happened to us. Everybody just put the team first and put their egos aside. And that changed our fortunes dito sa conference na to. And once we had that, we felt good about what we were doing, felt good about each other, and yeah, it was one of the toughest championships that na panalunan namin. I think ever since we entered Ginebra, and that's what makes this championship really special.
Yeah, you mentioned Gana the difficulties and hardships you guys endured, and nung sixth seed kayo, I know, alam mo naman sa social media like Twitter, ganun, ang daming ang doubters na kahit
Mhm.
talented kayo na si Brownlee daw, he's too old na ganyan, and then yun nga, yung mga ibang players, you need to
Yeah,
change your roster and add new, like yung mga ka-age siguro ni Scottie or nila Aldo
yeah.
na kind of players. Pero yung team nyo ba, like, hindi nyo talaga na pinapansin na yung ganun? Kasi nung time ng TNT, parang every time like sila JDV and sila JD sa Twitter, sasagutin pa nila yung mga ibang tao na nagda-doubt ganun. So how do
Yeah.
you guys actually use that as motivation in terms of catapulting yourself to that championship this conference?
On a team level, we didn't really talk about it.
Mm.
What was said on social media, but I'm sure yung players dealt with it on their own. Um, so kasi mahirap yan eh. If we talk about it as a team and we allow the comments on social media to dictate what we do, kasi a lot of things that are shown when we play the game, hindi complete yung picture na yun eh. There are also a lot of things happening behind the scenes in practices, and of course, in planning, in strategies. So maraming hindi nakikita.
Mm-hmm.
So we just try to stay the course and yung mga sinasabi sa social media, we didn't discuss it as a team. We never did actually, no?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if players on their own
Mm-hmm.
discussed it amongst themselves. But I can see it added motivation sa mga players. Kay Justin, he's one of the hardest working imports I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Uh, Even before and after practice, the extra work that he does.
Mm-hmm.
And ang maganda dito, he doesn't do it alone. So if he does some extra shooting, for example, he'll get a couple of players, tapos lahat sila magpapasahan, they'll rebound for each
Mm-hmm.
other. LA is the same. Si Joe, even though he wasn't playing, always giving advice and motivating yung guys that were struggling at that time, like Christian. Joe was always in his ear, and ang laking tulong niya kay Christian. And JD also giving
Mm-hmm.
wisdom kay Christian when he's down. And also the other guys, kay Arvin, when he's not shooting the ball well, yun rin. So, and that's crucial para sa amin. So talagang nagkaroon ng ang ganda nung naging tulungan eh. And it's beautiful when you see it. When the team is really coming together.
Mm-hmm.
And yung result, kung manalo kayo or matalo, actually, yan eh. Reward na lang yun, extra reward na lang yun eh. But once you see that the team is coming together like that, eventually something good will happen. And fortunately for us, it happened quickly dahil nga, yun, nanalo kami ng championship.
Oh yeah, that's a great sign nga na you guys went through the MVP gauntlet, maybe TNT
Oo.
and
Yeah.
Lex and
Yeah.
Meralco. Pero meron pa kayong isang na-endure na obstacle nung run nyo kasi na-injure si Japet and people were
Yeah.
worried na wala masyadong front court help kasi si Justin more of outside, tapos si Prince Caparel, he was kind of struggling, and yung iba naman like sila Raymond Aguilar, hindi niyo naman masyadong ginagamit, and Sydney Onwuberry was also injured earlier. Pero you guys, Coach Tim na naman and the coaching staff, you guys worked your wonders, and you played like four wings and guards and one big, and then C Stan had more room to maneuver and do his thing. So do you think that was also a major factor that you guys found terrific lineup combinations in the middle of the playoffs even without Japet? Kasi syempre pag tingnan mo lang at face value wala si Japet, parang nako laki nang mawawala eh. So how was that
Yeah.
adjustment like for the coaching staff?
Yeah, we really had to be creative. But again, I think your pivotal player done was Christian. And I don't think we could have won this championship without Christian. Dahil nga, nung nawala si Japet, he gave us a defensive presence. I mean, offensively, he would set good screens, but defensively, he was our number one defender against imports
Yeah.
or against the best bigs of the opposing team. And he can run the floor very well, get rebounds for us. Energy level was always there. And of course, yung sila Jeff, yung reincarnation ni Jeff, diba? So maganda. And of course, si Nards, si Pinto, gave us a spark coming off the bench. Of course, si Scottie naman yung constant namin. Scottie, siya yung pinaka, alam mo na what you would get from Scottie game in and game out. And syempre, si LA pa rin yung leader. And we needed his leadership there. So, and yun, you're right. We had to be creative. But again, guys that filled in the shoes talagang really performed well. And we're just happy that they did.
Yeah, and when you guys also played small, it was also instrumental that Scottie was getting a lot of rebounds, and that was a given na since his perpetual health days na he'd rack up the rebounds and assists. Pero now yung points niya, yung shooting na rin niya gumagaling. Dati niloloko pa nga siya na mas mataas pa yung 3-point percentage yata niya sa free throw. Like he really couldn't shoot jumpers before, and he was more of a all-around player. Like siguro Marcus Smart, like now, nung time rin na si Marcus Smart, walang shooting dati nung bata siya. Pero how would you say that Scottie emerged now as like a MVP candidate? I don't know if he'll win, but he's in contention, and people may say nga that he could also be the face of the PBA since syempre plus yun na nasa Ginebra siya, and yung aura din niya and charisma niya perfect for like the face of the PBA. So how would you share like the stories or how he grew as a player since his rookie season?
Yeah, kasi si Scottie at first wouldn't even take a shot. Wala siyang confidence in taking shots. So that's why defenses were going under him on screens. And the credit to Coach Tim just gave him the green light. He would design plays for him at the start of the game for him to take a jump shot. Ayaw niya, sabi kay Scottie would be, no, I want you to take the 3-point shot, not a drive to the basket. Okay? Para mabigyan lang talaga ng confidence. And for Scottie naman, he repaid it by practicing. I mean, taking a lot of shots in practice. And nakita mo, if pinapakitira ka na ng coach mo ng ganyan, tapos nagpa-practice ka naman, I mean, nasa sa'yo na problema mo na yun as a player if you don't take advantage of it, no? And we've seen how many times Scottie has hit big threes, especially in the end game, no? A lot of times nga, the teams would put a big guy on Scottie, number one, para to control him sa boards, but number two is because they feel that he's a guy that they can sag off of and let him take threes. And I guess now medyo mag-iiba na ngayon yung nila. Tingin nila kay Scottie. Yes, yeah. So ganda nung development ni Scottie, and ngayon just we're seeing na nagbo-blossom siya, and he's very young, and gagaling pa to si Scottie.
And yung maganda rin, Coach, you mentioned nga the attitude of the players na kanina, lalo na yung veterans. Pero yung mga bago yung dinadagdag, like yung mga guys like Kent Salado, Brian Enriquez, when you draft these players, do you make sure din na yung mentality nila or yung attitude nila very receptive or nakikinig sa veterans? Kasi hindi naman lahat ng mga youngsters nga na talented or yung mga scorers or offensive players, ganun yung attitude nila. So, syempre, baka mamaya pagdating nila sa Ginebra, hindi sila ganun ka-receptive. Kasi like Scottie, is one example na nakita ko nung kahit MVP siya sa NCAA, he didn't say na, oh, MVP ako, dapat babad ako or dapat madami akong touches or shots eh. So, how was it like for you guys?
Yeah, yun ang maganda sa mga rookies namin, mga young players, no? Especially, I guess, knowing that they're coming into a team like Ginebra, wherein there's not a lot of pressure for them to score. Ang sinasabi namin sa kanila, if you want to have minutes on the floor, you have to show that you can play defense because there are players we have a lot of players that can score, and of course you'll have your chances, no? And yeah, nakikinig sila sa veterans. Si Brian is very coachable. Maganda yung work ethic ni Brian. He's the first guy in the gym and one of the last guys out. He works with Coach Kirk before practice, about 2 hours before practice. So he's really very willing to learn and improve. Si Salado, when wala pa sa amin si Pinto, he played really well.
Yeah.
Nung elimination round, no, coming off the bench, he's at saka we're a believer in Kent. Maganda, okay talaga to si Kent, and he gives you quality minutes. And we have a third team eh. So yan, si Kent, si Brian, and then sila Raymond Aguilar, even si Mauricio, sila Ayaay, yan.
Yeah.
Sila yung scouting team namin. And grabe yung trabaho nila sa practice. So they would be the offense and of the opposing team. They would be the Mikey Williams, okay? They would be the Kevin Alas. They would be the Chris Newsom. They would be the imports, sila Raymond. And grabe nila pahirapan yung first group namin. And and also on defense, we would let them play the defense of our opponents. And those are the unsung heroes nung championship na to. And in my experience, that's what I learned. Even nung sa San Mig Coffee kami,
Yeah.
we had this third group, yung guys that rarely see playing time, but they were the key to prepare yung first group namin, yung starters and the second group. Because hindi sila yung type of players na just because hindi sila nakakalaro, nagtatampo na mabigat yung bench nyo ngayon kasi may masama ang loob dyan. No, they were the number one cheerleader pagka games, and they were the hardest workers in practice. So, parang yun lang eh, ang gusto lang nila manalo. But they don't get awards, they don't get recognition, they don't get the same salaries as the starters, but they play a huge role. And if you can find players like that in your team, sooner or later, I think you'll make your team a championship contender. Kasi marami nag-iisip dyan, gawin mo lang na i-stack mo lang yung lineup mo. Kumbaga parang fantasy basketball, lahat magagaling. Hindi pwede kasi yung mga magagaling talaga, pag hindi ba kalaro sa sama loob. But again, if you can find players like these na magagaling rin naman, then we know their capabilities. So that's the reason why we got them in the team. But they're willing to do the dirty work and not get recognized for it, except within our team. I think that's a huge step of making your team a championship caliber team.
Yeah, and Ginebra's really going to be a force to be reckoned with. Kahit, wala na si Justin muna for the all-Filipino in the upcoming season. And syempre mga injured players, sana makabalik na rin soon. And yung mga draftees nila, malay mo may revelation ulit, parang si Arvin nung first conference sa bubble. He was second to Aaron Black yata sa voting sa Rookie of the Year. So, hopefully na yung Ginebra talagang maging successful pa din. Pero to move on to the next part, Coach, I wanted to ask, like you said nga kanina na you were a coach. I said kanina that you were a coach before and you used to be a player then before in the when you were during your day PBA days. So maybe you could elaborate a bit on how you started growing in love with basketball. Like, was it your first love as a child, or were you doing other things muna? And maybe you could transition na rin yung PBA career, like from how you were when you started liking basketball until you were reached the PBA.
Well, yeah, yes, basketball was my first love. I was a Toyota fan growing up, and
Mm.
I was one of those really crying pagka natatalo sila sa Crispa. And, every time I had a small, when I was a kid, 6, 7 years old siguro, I had a small court na nakasabit lang sa gate. Tapos, you had a
Mm.
parang makeshift na maliit na bola na shooting ka, dunk ka doon kunyari sa
Mm.
PBA ka. So like a lot of young kids. I didn't play high school uh, sa mga big leagues kasi I studied in a school na it's a small school sa Manresa in BF Homes.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so I from preschool
Mm.
to high school doon ako. So we didn't really have a program and
Mm.
competed done. So hanggang intrams lang ako. And
Oh.
I was a walk-in tryout for LaSalle and late pa ako sa tryout noon kasi nagbakasyon ako sa after graduating high school, bakasyon ako sa US for 2 weeks and then late ako.
Mm.
Sabi nga nila, the story was that coach, ito may late tryout kasi galing States. So kala nila talagang kala nila fail am ako. So
Ah,
medyo
okay.
medyo ini-English, "Oh, hi, how was your flight?" Gumaganon. Sabi ko, "Ako naman, siyempre, oh, it was good, thank you." Ganyan, ganyan. I was at that time, I was 16 years old. I was about 6'2", 6'3". So medyo
Mm.
may height, di ba? But
Mm.
again, I was completely out of shape. Hindi ko natapos yung unang tryout. Midway of the tryout, nasa ilalim na ako ng ring. Sabi ko, ayoko na, hindi ko na kaya. And then
Oh, okay.
the following day, ginigising ako ng brother ko. Sabi ko, ayoko na, sakit ng katawan ko, sobrang pagod ako. And bumangon ka dyan, sabi gano'n, nakakahiya, nakiusap lang tayo. So anyway, pinilit ako, balik ako sa tryout, gano'n. And so I guess, na-intriga lang sila sa akin, not because of the skill, because there was close to none, but because of the potential, no? Kasi yung 6'2" and 16, so bata pa, di ba? Malaki.
Mm.
Malalaki pa. So eventually, they allowed me to try out. Tapos, they allowed me to stay with the team. So practice, gano'n. And fortunately, yung first year, nasama kagad ako sa lineup ng Lasal.
Yeah.
Um, and well, we didn't win the championship then. Natalo kami noon. But I was part of the 1989 DLSU championship. I think that was the first UAAP championship for men's basketball for LaSalle.
Mm.
Coached by Manong Derek. Siya na
Yeah.
yung coach namin. So, yun, after that, na-ACL ako sa LaSalle.
Oh,
So, I wasn't able to complete my playing years then dahil at that time yung ACL it would take you
matagal.
a week. Oh, wala pang arthroscopic surgery nun eh. Talagang total knee reconstruction na sa akin.
Oh,
So I had to
okay.
stop. Yeah, I had to stop playing for 5 years.
Ang tagal.
I graduated from college. And then I took a job selling cell phones. At that time, analog pa yung mga cell phones. Tapos yung mga
Mm.
meron pa yung mga car-mounted na cellphone, yung mga nako-clone pa yung mga numbers, but it wasn't sustainable. And then I found myself also in the poultry business. I went to Mindanao to establish a poultry business there. But while habang nandun ako, I was watching the PBA and then sabi ko, yung mga nakikita ko dyan, binabantayan ko yan dati, hindi makashoot sa akin yan eh, sabi ko. So parang kaya ko to
Mm.
eh, kaya ko. I still kept the dream alive, no, dun sa to going back. And but again, masakit yung tuhod ko. Fortunately, at that time, this I have to share this because me and my wife had a chance to go to Europe during that time, and then one of the places that I insisted on visiting was in Lourdes, France,
Yeah.
and yeah, so once we were there, syempre, I dipped dun sa holy water sa pool and praying for healing, di ba? And
Mm.
then after that, we went to the US to visit some relatives. And yung relatives ng wife ko, sabi, uy, ang tangkad ng husband mo, first time they met me.
Mm.
Laro tayong basketball. Sabi ko, hindi pwede, hindi ako makalaro kasi sobrang sakit ng tuhod ko. Tapos sabi sa akin ng wife ko, sige na, pagbigyan mo lang kahit shooting ka lang, whatever. Okay, pinagbigyan ko. And I'm not kidding. I mean, nung naglaro ako doon, that was the first time since my ACL injury na I did not feel any pain at all dun sa tuhod ko.
Mm.
So I believe na I was healed dun
Yeah.
sa Lourdes.
Mm.
And I'm not even Catholic. I'm a Protestant. Pero I
Oh,
mean
okay.
and so it was a miracle, and I believe I was blessed with that miracle. So cut a long story short, na-inspire ako doon, and that because of that, nag-try out ulit ako sa PBL. Kasi ang sinasabi ko doon, mindset ko was that I wanted to make it to the PBA or at least try. And if I
Mm.
don't make it, okay lang. I don't want to grow old na magsisisi ako na I didn't even try.
Yeah.
So yun, try out ako, rejected ako by a lot of teams. Oh, ano ka pa pala, 5 years ka hindi naglaro. Nag-balloon ako. I was playing La Salle, I was 195. Nung nag-try
Oh.
out ako, 240 pounds ako. Sabi, ang taba ako, di ba? So sabi, ano mo, pakondisyon ka muna kasi yung minsan nga, 1 week, di ka makalaro. Ang hirap na bumalik. Ikaw, 5 years pa. So I got rejection left and right, left and right. And then finally, meron isang team na nag-gamble sa akin just because yung kinukuha nilang player, hindi nag-agree dun sa salary na gusto nila. So ako,
Oh, okay.
payag ka ba sa ganito? Sabi ko, yeah, payag ako. So anyway, so yun, I played for the PBL for 1 year and then decided to enter the draft. I entered the draft on my own. Hindi ko sinabihan yung family ko na nag-apply
Oh.
ako sa draft kasi ayoko mapahiya sila, di ba? And
Mm.
well, so yun, nagpa-draft ako, put my name in there, and I was picked in the second round. I was the first pick of the second round. And ganun kababaw yung draft nun. Kasi ako na yung first pick ng second round. Anyway, so yun, and then, but I wasn't signed by the team that picked me, so try out pa rin sa iba. And then, wala, hindi ako nakapirma. And then the league was already starting, and all of a sudden I got a call kasi may sakit at may injured na players yung isang team that was Pepsi at that time, and they gave me a tryout, and
Mm.
unfortunately they signed me for 10 months, uh, and then after that yun na, nagtuloy-tuloy na, swinerte naman ako, nakapaglaro ako for 8 years. The last team I played for was Alaska, and then unfortunately, one night as I was driving home, I had a car accident, and medyo seryosong car accident yon, and I broke yung right femur ko, and then itong sa arm ko, I broke yung face ko, hit the windshield. I had more than 100 stitches in my face, and that ended my PBA career.
Mm.
Yun. So, yun na medyo talagang low point ulit. Balik na naman sa low point. And then yun, I started uh, after a few years, a few months. I didn't want to get away from basketball, so nag-audition naman ako as an analyst. So I covered some NCAA games, pero soft konti lang. Then sa PBA, I started as a courtside. Tapos sometimes nag-analyst na, and then later on naging anchor na ako. And
Mm.
then while I was doing that, nagkaroon naman ng opening sa Binild.
Mm.
But sa Binild, sabi ko hindi ako ready. So nirecommend ko yung friend ko si Coach G Abanilla. Oh,
Yeah.
G, sabi ko, he was coaching at that time, G, may opening. Tapos pag makuha mo, kunin mo na ako sa staff mo. So yeah, he got the job. So we took over the team at that time, and then midway, after 1 year yan yata, masyado na siya maraming teams na kina-coach. He had to let go of Benil, and then I took over. So
Mm.
yun, doon na nag-start yung coaching career ko with CSB.
Yeah, and you mentioned again that you were a PBA player for 8 years then. For the others that weren't familiar, like what was your role on these teams? Like were you a defender? Were you a rebounder? Were you a scorer? Like what was your role?
Well, definitely not a scorer. Hindi ako scorer talaga. I was a defender. I would defend against imports. And
Mm.
of course, yung mga, kasi at that time, I was 6'5", and
Oh,
center
okay.
na ako noon. Ngayon kasi 6'5", hindi na center eh. Di
Yeah.
ba? So ngayon, at that
Mm.
time, 6'5", center ako. Yeah, so I was really more of a defender, a role player, rebounder, set screens, space the floor. May illegal defense pa kasi noon eh. So ikaw
Yeah.
yung mag-space the floor para hindi maka-help yung dumidepensa sa'yo. And yun lang. But again, at that time, what I would do was I would record yung mga teams na makakalaban namin. So I'd look at the schedule, tignan ko sino makakalaban namin at this game. So it would, kahit kasi nung sa amateur ako, ganun ginagawa ko eh. I would either go to the venue and watch or record it sa Betamax pa noon or VHS.
Mm.
And I would watch the imports play. I would watch their set plays, and I would try to anticipate pagdating sa ano kasi ang feeling ko since I wasn't skilled enough, wala akong
Mhm.
masyadong talent maglaro. At least ang ano ko is prepare ako, mag-aaral ako so that I would be ready. Kasi I can't rely on my skills eh. So, scout ko na sila. So doon naman
Mhm.
ako medyo kaya naman ako nagkaroon ng role sa team. That's why um, nagkaroon ako ng konting value sa mga teams that I played for. Because I was able to fit a role sa teams namin.
Yeah, yung pagiging leader mo naman or yung pagiging coach mo rin nung sa TSB, you said that was your first coaching stint. Like, how was it like when you were a player? Like, did you see your outlook already of being a coach? Like, were you a vocal player pa din kahit nga sinasabi mo hindi ka ganun ka-skilled? Like, were you the one, the leader, parang Udonis Haslam type ng Miami? Ganun ka ba nun?
Not at first, but later on, yes, I just wanted, ano eh, kasi in all the teams that I played for, well, not naman all, but nung, as I mentioned, di ba, late tryout ako dun sa PBL when I tried to come back. One
Yeah.
year lang ako naglaro doon, third conference. So, yung first conference doon, I was one of yung pinakamababang sweldo and bihira ka magamit. But within that year, by the third conference, I was the captain ball.
Oh.
With Santa Lucia, ganun rin nung napunta kami ako ng Santa Lucia, played there for 5 years. So really a role player, bago ka, support. And then there was a time that I was also the captain ball of that team. Kasi I just wanted to get, you know, I wanted to form a team na hindi
Mhm.
hindi ako concerned about yung sa sarili ko. Gusto ko lang talaga manalo. So I guess yun lang ang pinaka one of the traits kaya siguro ako nagiging captain ball. And kasi yun nga mas mas may value yung sinasabi ko kaysa sa ginagawa ko on the court. So, so siguro kaya ganon. And I guess yeah, I was able to use that to nag-transition ako as a coach.
Yeah. So nung pagiging coach niya naman, like, what was like your system in TSB? Like, ano yung mga, is it based from your previous systems na naglalaro ka sa PBA? Did you experiment with something that you researched on or a seminar that you joined? Like, how was the style like offense and defense? And how do you like communicate with your players? Kasi hindi lang naman, alam ko, hindi lang X's and O's yung importante rin pag coach. Like, they say na kailangan you're a good leader din in terms of talking with these various personalities.
Yeah. Well, dun sa CSB ako, I implemented yung triangle eh sa
Mm.
offense namin because I was also with Coach Tim then, no? So kung ano yung natututunan ko, ini-implement ko rin doon. Although nakita ko na rin talaga yung sobrang difference of hindi mas parang mas madali ituro dun sa PBA kaysa sa college eh. Kasi syempre sa triangle, sabi nga, equal opportunity, everybody has to get touches. Sa pag-college kasi, everybody's trying to prove themselves eh, sa mga players dahil nga yung mindset nila hindi pa ganun ka-mature yung thinking process, di ba? So medyo mas mahirap. And again, kailangan talaga ng pasensya pagdating sa college. But again, although gusto mo bigyan ng leeway, kailangan mo rin i-instill yung discipline doon sa mga young players na yon. And sa college, it's different. It's not just about yung sa practice, yung sa basketball, yung sa games. Even off the court, kailangan alam mo rin nangyayari sa kanila eh. And sa classes nila, parang kang magulang
Yeah.
lang lahat ng players mo eh. Eh di ba,
Mm.
hindi lang yung players mo dun sa NCAA, pati nasa team B mo, ikaw rin,
Yeah.
lahat ng grades niyan, titignan mo. Yung sa dorm nila, check mo kung umuwi ba ng tamang oras, gano'n. So medyo ang hirap talaga. Very stressful yung pag-coach dyan sa college, especially at that time. Kasi hindi naman ganun karami yung staff, yung coaching staff, no? Unlike now,
Mm.
ito mo, ang dami na ng staff. Tapos, very well supported na yung mga college teams, di ba?
Mm.
So, yeah, at that time, hindi eh. Kanya-kanyang kayod kami kung saan kami kukuha ng suporta eh. Especially sa CSB. Hanap ka ng sponsor. So, medyo tough yun. But again, it was a great experience for me na rin.
Yeah, and then you mentioned about patience nga and discipline. Like in college, medyo mas mahirap yun compared to pros. Kasi
Yeah.
like yung sila Coach Tim, di naman nila check like what's happening with LA Tenorio or
Mm-hmm.
Scottie Thompson, ganun. So,
Yeah.
ikaw, like, did you have that passion already and like giving back to these people and teaching the youthful individuals? Kaya you pursued being a head coach, assistant coach muna, and then head coach in CSB. Like, dati pa ba yun na talagang coach or talagang dahil was it because of Coach G lang na parang you were thrusted into that role?
No, ano rin eh, kasi, one thing that's, although mahirap, one thing that's very rewarding sa college is that when you see your players blossom and attain a certain degree of success, like yung mga
Mm.
players ko before sa CSB na nakatungtong ng PBA, parang yung accomplishment mo rin eh. Kasi nakita mo
Okay.
sila nung talagang walang-wala eh. Talagang
Mm.
hirap na hirap, di ba? And yung hard work rin nila nag-pay off. Yun naman maganda doon, no? Kasi nga, para kang tatay, pagka nagko-coach ka ng college and then nakita mo graduate yung anak mo, and
Mm.
then ngayon, maganda na yung buhay nila, masaya yon. And there were times also at the middle of the night, I would get calls dahil meron akong player na nabugbog. So, napaaway. So,
Mm.
I mean, even yung wife ko has to be very understanding na hindi ako gigimik o walang chicks na tumawag sa akin, pupuntahan ko yung player ko na trouble, di ba? So,
Mm.
I would go there and I would go to the police station. I would titingnan ko kung ano nangyari, and yung feeling na pag may nangyaring masama kasi yung mga players hindi hindi yung magulang yung tinatawagan nila, ikaw eh. So
Mm.
yun yung mga na-experience ko na talagang ikaw yung tatawagan nila pag talagang may problema. And yun yung kaya naman pagka nakita mo nga silang nag-succeed, maganda yung feeling mo. Yun yung mga very
Mm.
fulfilling as a college coach.
Yeah, so yun about your great stint in CSB. I know it lasted a few years, and then sumikat ka rin as a assistant coach of Coach Tim and San Mig Coffee, as you mentioned, and Ginebra. So maybe you could also talk about how you became an assistant rin in the PBA kasi people knew you as an analyst more in the
Yeah.
PBA landscape ng time na yun.
Okay. So I was an analyst, and then the first yung first break ko sa PBA was given to me by Kaloy Garcia. At that time kasi
Oh,
si
okay.
Alex Compton nagpaalam to leave. He was part of the coaching staff, so nagpaalam. So there was a vacancy And then si Kaloy, yun, got in touch with me, and I was able to be part of the coaching staff sa Rain or Shine. Nandun. So at that time, mga players doon was Sol Mercado, sila Gabe, si
Ah,
Jeff Chan,
yeah.
si J.R. Reyes,
Yeah.
yun, sila Jervy Cruz. So yun, yung
Mm.
mga players doon. So, and then after a while, so that, a couple of years, nandun ako sa Rain or Shine. And then after a while, nung nag-take over naman si George Gallant, Coach George Gallant sa Pure Foods, um, tinawagan din niya ako, okay, gusto ba dito? And paalam naman ako maayos sa Rain or Shine. Sabi ko, there was
Yeah.
an opportunity dito naman sa San Miguel Group. So, pinayagan naman ako. Maganda naman yung higay. So, naging assistant naman ako kay Coach George. He took over from Ryan Gregorio.
Mm.
And then, doon ako napunta sa Pure Foods. And then, nagkaroon na naman ng reshuffle after a couple of years. And actually, I was named as an acting head coach for Pure Foods
Oh.
for 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Oh.
So, doon. So, ako nagpapa-ensayo lahat. Kasama ko sa coaching staff sila. Coach Art de la Cruz, si Ray Evangelista, si Coy
Yeah.
Banal. And then, after 2 weeks, dumating na si Coach Tim. Coach Tim Cone.
Okay.
So, siya na yung naging head coach naman ng Pure Foods. So, and then, okay naman, iniwan naman niya ako dun sa staff. And then, kinuha niya si Jeff Carriazo, si Johnny Abarientos, Olsen Rosella was there rin. So,
Yeah.
yun naman na naging staff namin nun sa Pure Foods. And doon na nagsimula lahat. I think that was mga late 2011 yata yun, nung dumating si Coach Tim.
Matagal na. Yeah.
Oo, 2011 or 2012, something like that. So, yun na, doon na nag-start yung working relationship namin ni Coach Tim.
Yeah, yun nga, you guys really have an admirable relationship. It's been going on for 11 years now. It's 27, and people really see you on the bench, that you really have an active role on the team. So like in the NBA then kasi, like if you see like these great head coaches, like pag na-hire yung mga assistant coaches na as head coach, like si Willie Green ngayon sa Pelicans, diba, he was with Steve Kerr and Monty Williams before. So meron silang assistant coach talaga na talagang right hand man nila ganun, or yung talagang minsan nga ikaw yung nag-coach, 'di ba, pag si Coach Tim naiinis na, pag tambak na. Yeah.
Tambak na, tsaka wala ng timeout.
Yeah.
Mahirap.
So ikaw naman, like what was your role? What has your role been under Coach Tim, like over these past 10 years? Like has it changed? Is it still the same? Like ano yung mga ginagawa mo talagang specifics for both San Mig Coffee and Ginebra?
Ang style kasi ni Coach Tim, so yung mga assistant coaches niya, you're assigned teams, no? So for example, there's 12 teams sa PBA. So i-divide yan. So yung mga assistant coach niya, may 3 teams na kayo yung in charge. Ikaw in charge sa scouting report. So you really follow that team. And so pagdating sa scouting, you present your scouting report to the team, no? Gawin mo yun. So, yun ang role ko sa kanya. And to start, and the first assistant at that time was si Jeff Carriazo. So yun. So pagka ganon, like, because we had Jeff Carriazo, of course, siyempre we had Coach Tim, we had Jeff Carriazo, we had Johnny Abarientos, and we had, of course, si Olsen Rosella, isa coaching staff namin. So, lahat yun mga future Hall of Famers eh. So, lahat yun mga great players. So, pagka may coaching discussion, tatahimik lang talaga ako. Kasi, syempre, parang, nandito sila eh, yung mga na-achieve nila, di ba? Grabe, Tim Cone, Jeff, si Johnny, tapos si Olsen, tapos ako. So, syempre, dito muna ako. Makikinig ako sa kanila kasi syempre gusto ko matuto eh. Yun. So pag after na, and then I would say my yung kung ano yung nakikita ko din. And fortunately naman, may mga suggestions naman na nagugustuhan si Coach Tim. So, again, after a while, si Jeff got promoted and he was named coach of Ginebra.
Yeah.
And then, sabi ni Coach Tim sa kanya, ang advice niya, get someone here from the staff to help you out in building yung ano mo doon sa Ginebra. But I'm going to make it easy for you. Sabi niya, I want Richard to stay here. So, gumanon siya. So, dinala niya si Olsen. So, naiwan kami. So, and then, doon na ako naging first assistant ni Coach Tim. And nung umalis sila, mag-Grand Slam na kami noon eh. So, hindi sila naging part ng Grand Slam eh. So, yun
okay.
sayang sa kanila noon. But they were still a big part of all yung championships leading to that Grand Slam sa San Mig. And yun, I guess yung role ko, yung relationship ni Coach Tim, it took, years. Kasi kaya siguro niya ako pinapabayaan na maging ganyan kakulit sa bench. Kasi na-earn ko na rin ng konti yung trust niya, no? And tagal na namin nagtatrabaho. So maganda na rin yung chemistry. Alam ko na kung anong iniisip niya, 'di ba? And hindi ako natatakot na to give him a different idea from what he wants. And I think yun ang gusto niya eh, 'di ba? Kasi you make him think.
Yeah.
Hindi yung pag kunyari may sinabi siya, sabihin mo lang, okay coach, tama yan. Hindi
okay.
lang laging ganun. Mahirap ganun. I mean, so you get to meron kaming we're very yung different, and yung difference namin is what makes us click. I think we make kaya nagkaroon kami ng success also working relationship namin.
Yeah, and that's really great that you have a different perspective on stuff like kumare siguro yung pag-prepare nyo sa certain team like Nolia or TNT, like meron ka mabibigay na ibang input. Pero yung sa ganun naman, like sa observation mo ba nakukuha yung observation or previous experiences, or nag-research ka rin ba online, or do you watch like videos on YouTube to evolve as a coach then? Like, what's your approach in also gaining the trust of Coach Tim and having these inputs that would further enhance the performance of your team?
Oh yeah, of course. I do my own research online. You see a lot of things online na and pero before you present it to him, kailangan marunong kang kumbaga para ka mag-thesis defense, 'di ba? Pag may tinanong siya, kailangan mo kaya mo i-defend 'yan. Why it will work. And why you think it will work. And of course, titingnan mo rin kung ano yung ginagawa. I mean, like, I watch not only PBA games or like you, di ba? You watch all the games. College, you learn a lot from college. Sometimes, I see high school games or marami ka rin matututunan talaga eh. Hindi porket nasa professional level ka na coaching na alam mo na lahat eh. Hindi ganun. Marami kang matututunan doon sa even some high school coaches, college coaches, commercial coaches, di ba? Kasi lahat naman yan nagre-research rin eh. And so, ako, I don't mind. Basta, kung tingin ko makakatulong sa team yon, kunin ko yan or I'll try to steal it from you. Not steal it kasi sabagay, hindi ko kasi pinapaalam sa kanila, di ba? Pero at least I use it. Of course, sa international, I'm more of a fan sa mga European style of play kaysa sa NBA talaga. But I still get a lot of stuff sa NBA, yung mga concepts rin nila. And present ko lang kay Coach Tim. But at the end of the day, he's gonna decide what to use and what not to use. And ang ano sa amin, sabi ko, hindi naman sasama ang loob ko. For example, may sinadjust ako, hindi niya ginamit. That's fine. Because that's my role as an assistant coach, di ba? Basta, pag-isipin mo lang siya. And then, at the end of the day, kung ano man yung maging decision niya, di, supportahan mo.
So how about naman for yung mga ibang assistant coaches rin naman, like people who wanna succeed and eventually become a head coach, like kahit high school, collegiate, or professional level. And then medyo yun na-intimidate sila kasi paano kung mari assistant nila sobrang nakakatakot or intimidating, or alam mo yun, yung track record medyo madami na yung na-achieve nila sa coaching career nila. Tapos ikaw bago ka lang pero may napupuna ka na pwedeng i-suggest. Like ano yung parang masasuggest mo na maging courageous sila and maging open sila to actually speak up and be vocal? Like what was your approach in having that utmost trust with coach?
Ano lang, just keep on presenting ideas. Uh, and it's not you saying that your head coach is wrong. You just present him with ideas, things to choose from. Um, Sinabi nga ni Coach Tim itong previous championship sa team namin. It's like sabi niya, si Richard, it's like he's presenting me with a buffet. So, ano ka sa buffet, and mamimili ka lang kung anong gusto mong kainin. So yun, ganun lang. I mean, you present your coach with different ideas and explain to him why you think this is a good idea. If he shuts you down, then okay, 'di ba? Pag magtanong siya, then reinforce why you think it's good. Pero you have to do your own research rin. I mean, it's not because it worked for the other team automatically mag-work na rin sa inyo. You have to look at your personnel also, yung composition ng team nyo. And so, maraming work bago mo i-present sa kanya. You have to think like you are the head coach even if you're not. Kasi, kumbaga, ikaw ba kung head coach ka, gagamitin mo yan. Kasi kung iisipin mo lang, kung mag-iisip ka lang na assistant coach ka lang, you don't put pressure on yourself. Kasi ang daming assistant coaches, okay lang. Assistant lang naman ako, siya head coach, bayaan mo siya magtrabaho dyan. Basta ako, dito lang ako, bubulong-bulong lang ako. You're not an effective assistant coach. Diba? Kaya nga, your role is to make your head coach look good. Yun ang role mo as an assistant coach. It's not about, pag assistant coach, don't expect any glory, don't expect recognition, kasi it would not make you a very effective assistant coach. Because ang hinahanap mo is your own credit. And pag ganun ang mindset mo, I don't think you'll succeed.
And you mentioned na nga, coach, yung bumubulong like during the game. Like I'm curious, like as a fan, like I've never been an assistant coach or anything. Pero paano mo malalaman kung kailan ka like mabubulong? Kasi pwede kang maging every second bubulong ka, like sobrang makulit naman na yun na every time na lang hindi na makaka-focus yung head coach dun sa nangyayari sa game. Like how do you tell yourself na siguro after nitong possession pwede kong i-suggest na change na yung defensive matchup ni Chris Ross or something? Like how do you parang gauge it? Kasi like kunwari nung UP game 2 nung natalo sila sa Ateneo, people were saying na bakit daw yung assistant coaches hindi binulong kay Coach Goldwyn, na si Carl hindi wala sa floor, yung mga ganun. Like what's your approach naman with that?
Well, oo nga. Hindi ka naman pwedeng bulong ng bulong every possession. Kahit ikaw, para kang magiging langaw dun sa di ba, sa tenga ng coach mo. And umalis ka nga dyan, di ba? Kahit kunyari, lagay mo sarili mo sa head coach, bulong ng bulong sa every. Di ba? Tumahimik ka, hindi ako makaisip. Di ba? But again, the timing is important. I think it's more of instinct. Kasi nga, isipin mo nga na kunyari ikaw head coach di ba? But of course, you have to know your head coach also. Kasi minsan, alam mo na iniisip na rin niya yun . So there's some things that you don't need to tell him because you already know that he's thinking about that and he already made the decision. Kunyari, may isang taong foul trouble or may isang taong wala sa loob. Alam naman niya yun . Imposible hindi. Head coach nga yan . Pero decision na niya yun kung bakit wala siya sa loob or kung bakit iniwan niya sa loob yung isang player. And at the end of the day, yung head coach will be making the decisions because yung blame sa kanya rin mapupunta kung matalo. Diba? I don't think it's fair to put the blame on the assistant coaches o ba't di mo sinabihan to, diba? Alam na niya yun. I mean, hindi naman siguro ano yun, kaya nga naging head coach yan, di ba? Um, but again, if you really feel na, kailangan siya na sa loob, it's your discretion. Coach, do you want to, sabihin mo lang, it's also how you say it eh. Hindi mo
Oo.
sabihin, Coach, pasok mo si Carl. Ganyan. Hindi ganoon. Kaya, Coach, you think, kailangan nating ipasok si Carl? Sa kanya mo pa rin, siya pa rin yung magde-decide. So, pag ganun ang tanong mo, Coach, do you think kailangan natin na ipasok si Carl? Tapos, mag-isip siya, yes, okay. So, siya yung nag-decide. Ang laki ng difference nun, na lumapit ka, sabihin, Coach, pasok mo na si Carl. Hindi. Malaki yun, di ba? Kasi ikaw yung nag-decide, hindi siya. So it's also the manner of delivering your suggestions.
I agree with that talaga kasi nga yung delivery, lalo na in the heat of the moment, medyo hindi mo na
Yes,
ma-analyze kung paano mo sasabihin eh. So dapat, I mean, paano mo ma-receive as a head coach, like you have so much you're thinking about na. Tapos pangit pa yung pagkasabi, medyo nga nakakainis na nga yun if ever, and baka mamaya you'll just brush it off and yun na,
That's
hindi
right.
na nga mangyari yun. Something else could have happened eh. Pero you mentioned na nga, Coach, kanina na you do take over the coaching duties when Coach Tim sits down on the bench when you guys are losing and madami ng timeout. Wala nang matira na timeouts. And then, or sometimes pag na-eject siya, like there was a time before, I'm not sure kung ikaw na yung first assistant coach na tinapon niya yung monoblock chair yata sa court nun sa Araneta. Tapos meron pa yung sa Ginebra. Then, alam ko ikaw na yung first assistant coach nung I don't know if you guys won nun, pero napahabol mo yung Ginebra with the second or third stringers nun against San Miguel ata, or basta malakas na team yun na parang 20 plus point lead with I don't know, like half a quarter left eh. So ikaw, ano yung nasa mindset mo naman whenever Coach Tim ganun, umuupo na lang siya or he gets ejected? Lalo na yung umuupo kasi like, what if he's just sitting to chill? Like, what if he wants to coach pa din? Like, does he tell you ba ganun? Like, how does that work?
Well, first of all, believe ako sa memory mo. Natatanda mo yung mga games na yon. Yung may monoblock chair, hindi pa ako noon, si Jeff yun.
Okay.
And then yung isa yung sa San Miguel, you're right. We didn't win that kasi we had a chance to win it. We had yung shots, we took about 3 shots yung sa last possession. Kaso nagmintis lang yung tatlo kay LA, tapos sila dalawa kay Justin. Anyway, so yun, ang nangyayari lang dyan, sometimes kasi pag talaga frustrated na nga si Coach Tim, so he would just sit down, di ba? And then, ikaw rin frustrated, I would just, cheer yung mga players. I think, siguro kung bago lang kami na nagtatrabaho ni Coach Tim, I wouldn't do that. But siguro nga, since ang tagal na namin magkasama, I would stand up even if it's sitting down, and I would tell the players, like tatawagin ko lang isang player, may sasabihin na ako, ito ganito gawin mo, ganito ganyan mo, sabihin mo ganitong gawin nyo, or I would just, come on, let's go, cheer ko lang sila. And there would be times that Coach Tim would just allow me, tapos minsan nga pag may run, tapos ganun ang ginagawa ko, tapos ang gagawin niya, bibigay niya sa akin yung board, even may timeout. Tapos susunod, hindi maupo ako kasi nahihiya ako. Sabihin ko, baka masyadong mapapil na ako eh. Diba? Nahihiya ako. And then, kakalabitan ako ni Coach Tim. Come on, Richard, just stand. Continue. So, sabihin niya sa akin ganun. But there will be times also na sabihin niya, it's okay, just sit down. So, yun, upo lang ako. So, I think, na rin yun, nagkaroon na rin kami ng chemistry wherein he knows and I know when is the right time to do it. And yun, bihira na naman siya ma-eject na yun eh. So hindi pa ulit nangyayari yung ganun. But again, kailangan ready ka lang pagka lahat ng mga assistant coaches ready lang yan pagka ganun, na-frustrate na talaga yung head coach mo.
Yeah, and yung mga times na yun na humahabol, like meron pang ibang games for sure na nakalimutan ko. Like meron pa yung si Tay Teodoro yata yung nagpahabol. I don't know I think ikaw rin yung nag-coach nun. Pero with these comebacks, like do you have some stuff that's already at the back of your head, like if this happens I could try to implement these, or like yung mga substitution patterns, like yung nagtatrap kayo bigla, or yung ipapasok mo nga kumare yun sila Tay or si Scottie. There was a time na si Scottie hindi pa babad, tas pinasok na in garbage time, pero yun cut down the lead to single digits. Like, do you think of these on the fly, or do you have it already in the back of your head?
No, a lot of times kasi through the course of the game, um, kailangan mo talaga to make adjustments, no? Of course, you come into the game and you have this prepared game plan. But again, it's just a plan. And
Mm.
sobrang dami nangyayari sa game because they also have their own game plan. It negates the preparation that you made sometimes. So kailangan mag-isip ka on the fly. So maybe you go small to speed up the game. You create uh, matchups that you think would be favorable to your team. And also ako, even assistant coach lang ako. When I come into the game, I try to put in my pocket mga situational plays coming off a timeout. So para in case na kailanganin, ready ako. Hindi ako,
Mm.
you prepare for a game. Again, you prepare for a game as if you are the head coach of the team.
Okay.
Para at least if you were thrust into that situation, medyo ready ka. Hindi yung, uy, magugulat ka, anong gagawin ko ngayon, di ba? So, kasi, ganun para kang bangko, di ba? Pag bangko ka, tapos, nag-relax ka, na hindi ka ready to play, biglang nagkaroon ng opportunity, may na-injure, may na-foul trouble, biglang ikaw ngayon ang pinasok at hindi ka handa. Wala na. Ibig sabihin, if you don't perform, medyo mawawala ng bilib sa'yo, mawawala yung value mo, and you missed your shot.
Mm.
So you really have to prepare and be ready every game. Kahit hindi mo magamit yung baon mo, at least prepared ka.
Mm-hmm. And yun nga, coach, that you're one of the best assistant coaches now in the PBA. Do you have any intention of pursuing also a head coaching job in the future, like either PBA or UAP, NCAA, like pag may nag-offer?
Well, ano yan that's not in my control. Kasi nga, yun na, pag may mag-offer. But again, I would be a hypocrite if I say na I have no ambition of becoming a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Syempre meron, di ba? But again, since right now wala pa ako sa ganung position. Ang focus ko lang is trying to be the best assistant coach that I can be at the moment. Try to be the best at where I am right now.
Mm-hmm.
Ano sa akin team ambition before personal ambition. So, of course, I have my personal ambition, but team ambition has to come first. So, as an assistant coach, I just have to uh, be at my best in sa ganitong role and always try to help however I can to help our team win. Hopefully, more championships.
Yeah. So yung final segment naman ng interview, yung I wanted to ask you, I mentioned it na kanina na you were also an analyst, and yun nga nagkaroon ka ng parang podcast na bro show. Like people miss you in the panel na, like me also, when you're an analyst, I enjoy it kasi syempre may kasamang humor, like hindi lang
Mm-hmm.
serious. And
Mm-hmm.
syempre ngayon less na yung opportunities mo to be an analyst, or not sure kung sa PBA rush ka lang kasi I don't have signal here on my cable. Pero I don't
Okay.
hear you as much as before kasi nga, I guess, kasi assistant coach ka na. So, ikaw naman, nung naging analyst ka naman, what was your like approach? Like talagang kasama na ba yun sa personality mo na magpatawa ng konti, like even in the bro show then, like, kasi alam mo na parang ibang analyst serious lang, like, ganyan, X's and
Mm-hmm.
O's, ganyan, yung mga
Yeah.
moves, ganyan. Pero hindi na naiisip yung entertainment kasi nga, everyone's hearing you in the game.
Yeah, kasi whenever I watch, kasi even nung bata ako, di ba? Of course, idol ko sila Joe Cantada.
Yeah.
Yan, and of course, yung pagka-partner niya, sila Waki Trillo, tapos sila
Mm.
Ed Picson, masaya sila pakinggan eh. And
Mm.
you're supposed to be entertained when
Mm.
you're watching kasi sports is entertainment eh.
Yeah.
So, and kung analyst ka, you don't have to prove to everyone how smart you are. Kasi hindi naman exam to eh. Kumbaga, you just, so, siguro, ipo-point out mo lang, oh, ba't nangyari yan? So, ganito, medyo ganito yung gusto nila mangyari, o bakit ito pinababantay sa kanya, so siguro, ito yung isip ng coach, so ganun lang. You don't have to come out as parang sobrang intellectual. And again, I really put in humor because I want people to be entertained. Kasi
Mm.
ako, sobrang bored pagka masyadong 'di ba? Parang masyadong X and O's yung pinag-uusapan.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, sila Jeff Van Gundy, 'di ba? 'Yun
Mm.
nakakatuwang pakinggan 'di ba?
Oo.
So, ang ganda yung camaraderie nila, yung chemistry nila, 'di ba? Nila Mark Jackson. So,
Yeah.
yung masarap, at least may entertain ka. Habang nanonood ka, may entertain ka. Hindi yung
Mm.
parang nanonood ka ng exam na hindi naman ganoon. So, that was my point in style of covering games. And then, yun nga, nagkaroon kami ng bro show. And I think yun ang na-establish nga namin nila Miko, sila Jason. We were still able to analyze the game and at
Mm.
the same time make it entertaining to the fans. Hopefully, no. Even dati nagkaroon kami ng yung halftime show yung sa Active Center kung ano ng
Yeah.
mga ginawa namin doon lang
Oo.
nakakahiya ngayon pag napapanood
Oo.
ko sa YouTube, hiyang-hiya ako
Yeah.
sa mga ginagawa namin doon. Nagsasasayaw pa kami doon, kumakanta
Eh,
kami. But again, I mean, it's like, ano yung sa halftime show ng NBA, para ganun na rin yun eh. But ginawa lang namin,
Sila
masyadong maaga
Charles.
eh. Oo eh.
Mm.
Masyado lang
Mm.
ginawang maaga masyado eh. But again, I think, ang nangyari sa akin, it was parang both a blessing and a curse. Kasi blessing dahil may mga natuwa nga sa mga uh, sa ganong style of covering games, but probably a curse also because parang people really didn't take me seriously that I can coach, or maybe siguro kaya hindi ako masyadong nagkaroon ng maraming chances to be a head coach because sabihin na komedyante yan eh. Ano ba naman alam yan?
Ah.
'Di ba? So I think baka naging factor rin yun. But I just try to put on different hats. I'm a different person. I'm a different person when I'm an analyst, and I'm a different person when I'm a coach. And all you need to do is just ask the players that I've worked with. Kung nagpapatawa lang ako sa practice at sa game, sa coach, yun, di ba? Pero hindi, seryoso ako pagka sa games
Work
at sa,
na.
sa, sa work na. So,
Mm.
yun. But, wala eh. Ganun talaga. Ganun talaga. You can't control how people think.
Mm. Yung pag-evolve naman sa analyst or yun nga, since you've been there for how many years, like, do you have an approach then? Like, do you also watch like sila Jeff Van Gundy, like how they do, sila Reggie Miller, like, or talagang based on what you see then talaga, or what you hear or what you read then?
Yeah, I do watch them, and then but I don't try to copy them.
Mm.
Sa akin kasi kung anong mas natural, yun lang ang ilabas mo, yung what comes
Mm.
naturally. Una-una, hindi naman ako artista. I don't have to, 'di ba? Hindi ako kailangan magpa-cute sa camera, 'di ba? Ibig sabihin when you're covering games, 'di ba? So ako mas gusto ko lang yung natural eh kasi parang kwentuhan, ganun nga, 'di ba? Na mas masaya. But at the same time, syempre, kailangan meron ring may depth naman yung sinasabi mo rin. Hindi yung
Mm.
ang ano lang naman kasi, ang pangit lang kung analyst, pag yung sinasabi mo, yung nakikita rin nila sa TV eh, 'di ba? Parang ina-annotate mo lang kung ano yung ginagawa ng ng mga characters eh, 'di ba?
Mm.
Gano'n. Lagyan mo ng konting depth naman.
Mm.
Para may konting knowledge ka rin na na-impart. But not too deep naman na sobrang masyadong matu-turn off naman yung audience mo.
Yeah, so how about with the bro show? Like, how did that start and bakit na-discontinue din? Since I'm a huge fan nga and mahilig kasi ako sa mga ganun yung podcasts or yung mga sports talk shows more than, I don't know, more than like sometimes more than watching Netflix or other stuff,
Oh,
like,
okay.
or sometimes
Yeah.
even more than watching some games. Like yung ibang games kasi boring na, like first half tapos na. I'd rather listen to podcast or a
Yeah.
sports show na lang. And now nung pandemic, mas naging rampant. Like now, that's why I even created my own called the DVD
Mhm.
show. Pero kayo, parang
Yeah.
nauna pa kayo dun sa trend eh. So how was the story for that?
It all started in Cuneta. Actually, I think we were covering a game, or maybe I had a game, tapos sila Miko were covering, and then, parang, ano lang, nandun lang kami sa may first game nun eh. Nandun lang kami
Mm.
sa may seats, tapos nagkukwentuhan lang kami tatlo, tapos yun, napag-isipan namin, sige, let's try. Tapos, pasok, problema, saan tayong studio pupunta? Diba? Eh, wala naman kami, uh, connections at that time. Ang natin, nakikita ba tayo dito? Kasi, di ba, siyempre, mag-invest tayo ng oras, ng gasolina, to go to the studio. Buti naman, mayroong nag-pick up na studio sa amin. And then, siyempre, sacrifice talaga yung una. And then, eventually, yon nagkaroon na nga ng following. Although, hindi pa rin talaga kami kumita doon. ano. But, yun nga, maganda. I think, siguro kung nagawa namin at this time na ang dami ng mga podcast, lalo na nung pandemic, no? Mas
Mm.
maganda. Nauna lang talaga kami. And then, because si Jason naging head coach na rin ng Magnolia,
Yeah.
so he begged off, di ba? Kasi mahirap
Mm.
nga na nagpapatawa ka sa isang podcast tapos head coach ka eh. Kailangan talaga maintindihan mo naman talaga rin yun eh, di ba?
Mm.
So, yun, nagkaroon ng kanya-kanya tapos si Miko also transferred to ABS-CBN.
Oo.
So, medyo nagkaroon na rin ng conflict. Kaya nawala naman yung bro show. But sometimes alas hindi na rin nga kami nakakapag-usap tatlo eh. But it would be nice to bring that up again pagka may chance.
Why do you think naman na it was very engaging for the people? Because everyone can just do whatever content they want. Pero hindi naman lahat magkiklik.
No. I guess because una-una, di ba, nagkaroon ng following nung halftime show namin sa Active
Mm.
Center.
I remember,
And
yeah.
then, uh, naging entertaining yung mga guests. Puro tawanan kasi eh. And it wasn't just private jokes eh. I mean, we had may mga segments pa. It was maganda yung creative mind ni Miko eh.
Mm.
Sa pag-conceptualize ng show na yon. And then we
Mm.
had yung chemistry, I guess, namin tatlo helped a lot. Na natural lang na talagang
Mm.
I guess people can identify with yung humor namin. Plus, okay rin naman yung mga naging guest namin. Talagang pag may naging guest kami, uh, parang nawawala yung nila, armor nila eh. Nadadamay na lang sa amin eh. So that
Mm.
made it fun. And at the same time, may content na when we're analyzing kunyari NBA playoffs, ganon,
Mm.
or college basketball, may content rin, may laman. So I think yun, kaya medyo nag-click.
And yun, Coach, that's all the questions naman I have for you today. And I hope nga yung bro show, sometime magka-reunion episodes, ganun, and I'll be looking forward to it. Pero these are just like standard questions I ask my guests before we wrap up. So yung one of it is, alam mo naman sa NBA bubble, like the players were more vocal and more expressive of their social and political issues, like nung time nung kay George Floyd and Jacob Blake. And yung players like didn't even play yata nung isang game eh. Pero here, like now lang naging rampant yung mga athletes in terms of sharing whatever thoughts they have on the social and political issues. And di ba nagka-issue pa before sa US na yung isang reporter parang sabi, shut up and dribble na lang, ganun. Like there's that um, a line that they always say or phrase. Pero for you, like as a person from player na naging media pa, naging coach, lahat na, like, is it okay for you for like sports personalities to also mix up politics and social issues when as an athlete, or do you think they should not be as talked about when you're an athlete?
I think it's fine. If you share it on Twitter in your social media accounts, because you have your own set of beliefs. I mean,
Mm,
you're an athlete, but you're also a citizen of the country. So I think it's okay for you to express your opinion about certain issues, no? Just because of or you're an athlete or you're a sports personality, you should shut up, diba?
mm,
And just do your job. Parang sabihin mo, okay, yung lawyer, shut up and just, go to the courts and litigate, di ba? Or something
mm.
like that. Hindi ganon. I mean, because we're all citizens of the country, and if you have a stand, I mean, it's your account, it's your Twitter page or your Facebook page, so it's a free country, you can share your views.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. And
Oh,
I don't know nga bakit iba yung opinion ng mga tao dun sa
oh,
States, and nagkakaroon ng issue kasi natitrigger yung iba.
yeah.
The yung next question naman is, I'm not sure if you watch All the Smoke podcast kasi yung kay Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson, pinanonood ko yun. And yung isang question
Oh,
nila is, if you have the opportunity to have dinner with five people na dead or
hmm.
alive, sino iimbitahin?
Wow. Sino bang iimbitahin ko? Kahit sino yan, no?
Yeah.
Sa, sa, ano, well, sino bang imbitahin ko? Sino ba yung mga popular? Hindi, una-una takot ako sa multo eh. So, ayokong ayokong, I know it's a tough question. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't really thought about it. And, uh, I get, well, one would be my father, because just because of the fact that I lost him when I was young. I was 11 years old. So medyo
Okay. Yeah.
bitin yung ano. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
but okay lang kung hindi siya pumunta kasi nga takot niya ako sa multo.
Oo nga pala.
um,
Mm.
I guess who else? Uh, Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe. I would love to. I, I don't know, because I haven't really met him, and I've heard a lot about how he was as a dad, and
Mm.
yeah, that was tough. I mean, I can't imagine, especially in my last moments, no, with his
Mm.
daughter. So yeah, isa rin ng gusto ko.
Mm.
I guess puro sports no. Si Jordan gusto ko rin siyempre
Yeah.
makausap. Um, Probably Bill Gates. Gusto ko rin si Bill
Mm.
Gates. Gusto ko yung mga success stories eh. Even yung mga controversial. And who else? Ilan na ba yun? Apat na?
Yeah.
Uh, and I guess I would go for the Pope. I would go for the Pope.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's a rare one. Like, sa'yo ko lang
Uh,
yata first narinig yun, or maybe matagal na yung ibang guest ko na
uh,
sinabi yun. Pero that's a great
uh,
answer. So, yung final question naman is, if I give you the chance to suggest to me like certain personalities that I could guest on the DVD show. Hindi naman kailangan basketball lang, like any sports personality. Kasi nga I cover any sport. Like, who would you suggest that I could invite here on the podcast that would have a great story to tell also?
you can invite Coach Tim. Okay? Na-interview mo na ba si Coach Tim? Di pa.
No, not yet. Yeah.
Oo, pero kukulangan yun, when he starts talking, nako, well, non-stop na yun.
Oo nga, joke niya palagi daw yun sa mga interviews niya when I listen to it.
Oo.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I think you'd be surprised with some of his stories. Of course, marami na niya naikwento sa akin, but I think
Mm.
people would be interested in, when he was young, and yung mga pinagdaanan niya. I think that would be a great interview for your show, si Coach
Mm.
Tim. Um, well, siya lang yung nasa isip ko ngayon na
Yeah, okay
na
lang, okay lang.
invite. Oo.
So, yun. Thank you so much again, Coach Richard, for joining me here on my podcast. And do you have any final message before you go?
Oh, first of all, thank you for inviting me. You know,
Mm.
and I hope I was able to uh, inspire. Kung merong mga aspiring assistant coaches dyan or players, I hope I was able to give you a little bit of inspiration,
Mm.
and whatever point in your life you're in right now, hopefully, yun nga, medyo nakatulong yung experiences ko, and I wish everybody good luck and good health, and of course more power to your show, Diego.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Coach. And before you go, is it okay if we take a picture?
Sure.
Oh, okay, sige. I'll take it from here. One, two, three. Okay, thank you so much again, Coach Richard, and stay safe and good luck with the draft in the upcoming conference. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.